In the very center of Europe, nestled among rolling mountains and deep valleys, lies Bosnia and Herzegovina, a country once known for its cultural diversity and coexistence. For centuries, Bosniaks, Bosnian Muslims, Croats, Catholic Christians, and Serbs, Orthodox Christians, lived side by side in a complex but functioning mosaic of traditions, languages, and faiths. But in the early 1990s, that fragile balance shattered. The breakup of Yugoslavia unleashed a wave of nationalism that swept violently through the Balkans. In 1992, Bosnia declared independence from Yugoslavia, and almost immediately, it was plunged into a brutal and multifaceted war. At the heart of this conflict was a campaign of ethnic cleansing carried out by Bosnian Serb forces, backed by the regime of Slobodan Milosevic in Serbia. Their goal, to create a greater Serbia by removing non-Serbs from large swaths of Bosnian territory. Under the leadership of Radovan Karadzic, a Bosnian Serb politician, and General Ratko Mladic, commander of the Bosnian Serb army, this campaign turned increasingly systematic and ruthless. Towns and villages with mixed populations were attacked, homes were burned, mosques destroyed, and entire communities were rounded up. Civilians, particularly Bosniak men and boys, were targeted. Many were executed. Thousands were imprisoned in concentration camps like Omarska and Ternopolje, where starvation, torture, and rape were widespread. Women and girls were subjected to sexual violence on a massive scale, often used as a weapon of war to terrorize and displace entire populations. The most horrific chapter of this genocide unfolded in July 1995, in the town of Srebrenica, in eastern Bosnia. Declared a safe area by the United Nations in 1993 and under the protection of a small contingent of Dutch peacekeepers, Srebrenica had become a refuge for more than 40,000 displaced Bosniaks. But on July 11, 1995, Bosnian Serb forces surrounded the town. Despite pleas from local leaders and civilians, international forces did not intervene. The Dutch peacekeepers, outnumbered and under orders not to engage militarily, stood by as General Mladic and his troops entered the town. Over the course of several days, Serb forces separated men and boys from women and children. Promises of safety were broken again and again. More than 8,000 Bosniak males, some as young as 12, were executed in fields, warehouses, schools, and forests. Their bodies were dumped into mass graves and later moved and hidden in secondary graves to conceal the evidence. Many were shot while blindfolded, hands tied behind their backs. Some were buried alive. The women and children were forcibly deported, many having witnessed the last moments of their sons, husbands, and fathers. It was the worst massacre on European soil since the Holocaust. International shock and outrage followed, but it had come too late. In the years after the war ended in 1995, the search for justice began. Forensic scientists, working under international mandate, painstakingly exhumed mass graves, identifying victims through DNA testing and returning remains to families. The process continues to this day, with thousands still missing. The International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia, ICTY, based in The Hague, spent years prosecuting those responsible. Radovan Karadzic was arrested in 2008 after years in hiding and sentenced to life imprisonment for genocide. Ratko Mladic was captured in 2011 and convicted of genocide and crimes against humanity in 2017. And yet, for many survivors, justice is still elusive. Denial of the genocide persists in some political circles in the Balkans. Some leaders glorify convicted war criminals, and memorials to the victims are often met with hostility or vandalism. Despite this, every year on July 11, tens of thousands gather at the Srebrenica Podakari Memorial Center, where rows of white gravestones stretch across the valley. Each stone represents a life taken, a boy who never returned, a father lost to history, a name that must not be forgotten. The Bosnian Genocide claimed the lives of over 100,000 people between 1992 and 1995, the vast majority of them civilians. It was a calculated, systematic campaign of extermination and terror, not just a byproduct of war, but a deliberate strategy. Today, Bosnia continues to heal. Children born after the war now walk the streets of Srebrenica. Some families have returned, others never will. Survivors lead efforts to teach, to testify, and to remember, so that what happened in Bosnia is not erased, not softened, and never repeated.